diagnosed, and I was practicing conventional medicine and consuming a standard American diet until I was diagnosed with lymphoma 7 years ago. That led to an increased awareness about the importance of the environment in general. And because of the nature of this type of cancer, although I'm trying to overcome it, the reality is that burial is a very likely outcome. I'd like to use whatever time I have left to help set a pattern in our community of going back to really traditional and natural ways of handling our dead.
What is the green burial?
Green burial is one that does not use any embalming fluids and doesn't use a vault.
So how is that different than... Oh, so not cremated, but...
Not cremated. Cremations are dirty too, so they're not green.
Because they use so much
the
fuel to actually burn the body for so many hours at such a high heat. So Clark found a cemetery in Wake Forest that owns woods that they were going to clear the woods to make another lawn. But they decided to keep the woods, and now it's their green burial woods.
Oh, really?
And
So
if
they're...
you want to get buried there, they've already sold 9 plots.
We saved a tract of forest by doing that.
So now that will always stay forest.
The story is a production of North Carolina Public Radio, WUNC.
The practice of green, or natural burial, seems to be catching on. People have figured out that there's something of a contradiction when they live a life recycling paper and composting kitchen scraps, only to have their own earthly remains pumped full of embalming fluid and sealed in a stainless steel casket. Dr. Clark Wong is fighting lymphoma, and he's chosen a green burial for himself.
I've picked a place called Pine Forest Memorial Gardens. When I first contacted Pine Forest and talked to Diane, she said, no, we've been talking about that for a long time, but we haven't actually opened a green burial garden yet. Well, from that conversation, Diane began to put together a business plan and presented that to the company owners, and they decided that instead of cutting down the next tract of forest, they would spare that forest and let that be their first green garden.
I think there was something that we weren't addressing, and Clark brought it to my attention. And before I talked to him, I didn't even, like most people, I didn't know you could do that, but the more I looked, the more I found out. I went to Green Burial Council class.